one of the most challenging things to learn if you're in this room. You're not just an A-type personality, perhaps. You might even be a triple A-type personality. Because if you're in this room, perhaps you're looking to improve your business, improve your life, create something new in your life. And I think there's a real balance and challenge to understand, how does the word surrender serve you when you're coming in this room and you're trying to go, how can I go bigger? How can I go better? How can I make it happen? And that truly is the lesson that needs to be learned. And having traveled around the world, guys, I've spoken in Ireland, England, Holland, Belgium, France, Italy, Spain, Portugal. I mean, all over Europe. I've spoken in the United States, all over the United States, all over Canada. I'm Hong Kong, China. Spoken in Colombia, spoken in Peru, spoken in Ecuador, spoken in Mexico, spoken in most places in the world. I've built businesses in those places. Guys, I have drank more bad coffee in more living rooms around the world and smiled and said, this is the best cup of coffee I've ever had. I mean, I have been all over the world, and I say this for a reason. I've had the opportunity and the blessing to mentor people because I believe what Pastor Allen said, the truth will set you free to do what? To do better. And I love what Reggie Flowers was talking about yesterday. I love what Pastor Allen's talking about. I love what Tina Heuermann is going to talk about, guys. This feels like the soft skill when we talk about mindset. But I want you to remember this. Your mindset is going to give you your perspective. And your perspective is all that you have every day when you're looking at something. And it's going to have one of these 3 Ps. When I mentor someone, I always look and said, is their perspective poison? Because some of you, your perspective is poisoning you. What does that mean? It's killing you and everyone else that's around you, because if they drink of that perspective, it's poison, and the outcome for poison is what? It's death. The second one is not as extreme, but it is super frustrating. Your perspective is your prison. In other words, you are feeling stuck. You need to learn how to change that perspective. You are not in a prison. It needs to be the 3rd P. It needs to be powerful. Because when your perspective is powerful, you will empower yourself, you will empower other people, and you will set other people free with your strength, with your perspective, and you moving out in faith. Someone that's going to coach you and help you with that. Let's get up on our feet. Let's bring to the stage one of the most powerful mindset coaches out there. Someone who truly understands how to walk that faith and lead other people. Let's bring Tina Heuermann to the stage. God bless you,
Tina. I cannot decide. Do I give some speech about how to get the most out of your life? Or do I go deep and try to change the choices that you'll make, 'cause they're the choices.
Hello, everyone. My name's Tina. Ray has often said, and this has been said several times this weekend, but life does not happen to us. It happens for us. And many of us in this room have surely overcome some obstacles that would leave the rest of you in tears. I know I'm one of them. Can you imagine living a life so gruesome, so challenging, so full of abuse and addiction, but knowing deep down in your heart that you're made for so much more, that there's something so big and so great out there for you? I want to introduce you real quick to my biggest hero. That's me. By the tender age of 5, she was beaten inside the womb, thrown against the wall at 6 months old, abandoned by her birth father, raised by a raging alcoholic father figure, saw her mother beaten frequently, and had an issue with drugs and alcohol as she grew through that. We can all probably relate to some of that, maybe 1, 2, 3, all that I shared, that I've been through, that I've lived through, that I've survived. How is it possible that that beautiful little girl is standing on this stage today inspiring someone in this room to not give up. I'll tell you why. There's several reasons. I listened, I believed, and I acted accordingly. Even as a young child, crossing guard with that gold belt on, saw this church across the street, had these beautiful stained glass windows. And something drew me to that church. Now, I lived a mile away from my elementary school. It was down a 4-lane highway, one of the busiest streets in my town. And something drew me to that church. And I would bundle up in the winter with my hat and my gloves and my boots. And you know the story. It was snowing. It was uphill both ways. And I walked to church by myself as a 7-year-old. But there was something inside of that church that gave me hope, that gave me love, that gave me stability. And I heard the first thing, you're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. You're going to change lives. I didn't know what that meant. I just knew what it felt like. And I knew that I had to keep going no matter the circumstances. My calling to this stage is not without more trauma and more treacherous, some of it worse than what that 5-year-old experienced. Yet by continuing to listen to that still small voice that spoke to me so frequently, Tina, it's not supposed to be like this. I will bring you a man that will love and cherish you and will love and cherish your children. And, oops, I had to skip some. There we go. And that's my man. That's my Prince Charming. We've been married for 30 years. God held true to that promise and gave me a man that absolutely adores me and gives me a love that I never knew as a child. And with that, I got that beautiful boy on the right, Cole. Cole came with Todd, and he was such a blessing to me. I memorized every Ninja Turtle name so that I could be a cool person in his life. And then Todd and I had Case and Calyx, and they are absolute true joys of my life. All of them. I love them so much. Then life blows started happening again. In 2017, I spent 7 beautiful weeks walking my mama to heaven. She was my rock, my best friend. She would fluff my life. If things were going wrong, my mom was always there to fluff my life and make everything so much easier to be able to manage. She was such a superhero. And when she died, there was no one there to fluff. And I began drinking. I began drinking a lot. And there was a time I was suicidal. I sat in my Jeep with my fingers on the ignition with the garage door shut, and I was like, I can't stand this pain. And I was in this black hole, and I could not see anything but this little beacon of light up top. And I heard that voice. You've got to go to the light. You are strong, you are powerful, and you've got work to do. And so I crawled out of that hole, and I sat on the side. And I was almost able to catch my breath when the day after Christmas in 2020, my son was taken by an accidental overdose of a fentanyl-laced heroin drug product. Being no stranger to grief, I knew what I had to do. I couldn't allow my family to go in that hole, and so I put them in my backpack and I carried them. And I did everything I could to make sure that they were taken care of. And that voice came in. And he said, Tina, he said, Cole is not suffering anymore. He's always been oppressed by this world, and he is free, and he is okay. But you have to take care of your family. You cannot allow the grief to overcome you. You cannot allow this to overcome them. I'm going to protect your family. I'm going to protect you. The drinking increased. I'd start out with Bloody Marys about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. 2, 3 of those would roll right into vodka water. Vodka was my drink. And sometimes I'd take a nap in the middle of the afternoon. And when I would wake, I would have a vodka water, and then I would cook dinner, and it would roll into several glasses of boxed wine. And during this, July of 21, I had to commit my husband, the love of my life, to a mental institution, because every single day from December 26th until July 13th, he told me he didn't want to live anymore. My kids are okay. They're doing good. But my husband said for years, if anything happens to one of my children, I'm going to end up in a mental hospital. Hearing him crying, calling me, come get me from this place. I don't belong here. And I said, fine, I'll come get you. You get to make that choice. But I know that if I come get you, I'm going to be a widow in a month. He stayed. He's better. He's back to work. But he was off work for quite a while. He was off work from July until probably March of 22. And me, being an up-and-comer network marketer, didn't have the funds, but I was now the primary breadwinner for my family. So it was time to get to work. And in November of 21, the company collapsed. So compounding traumas and traumas and traumas and drinking and drinking and drinking, I finally found a home. I found an amazing company, but there was still that drinking every single day. And I heard God say to me, if you quit drinking, I will bring abundance to your business. I'm like, oh yeah, this Bloody Mary's really good. This wine is really good. And I didn't listen. I ignored. And on February 28th of this year was the last day I drank. And I called Tom Chenot. You heard the story yesterday. A year ago, I sat in the back corner of this event, and on day 2, I wrote in my planner, I will speak on that stage next year. And here I am. So, every one of you has faced battles of some sort. Every one of you showed up for yourself today. Every one of you has the moment in your life, in this moment, to make that decision, to quit that habit, to quit procrastinating, to stop being inconsistent in your business, to stop being ugly to yourself, and treat yourself as the amazing person that you are. So I want to leave you with this. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be glorious to you. May the Lord lift you up in his countenance upon you and give you peace and joy and love and healing. You've got this. You can overcome it. And I'm living proof that you can overcome the hardest things that you've ever had to go through. Thank you.